Hello to all of my BPTV fans, YouTube fans, Facebook fans, and new fans. I'm Alan Levine, the Talking Machine. I'm doing my 68th show of the Talking Machine Show. I have another great guest, and in honor of Yager, I'm going to bring on my hero. Please tell them your name.
Attila Domos.
I met him about 12 years ago through a person we won't mention his name at this point in time. The less said, the better. And we're going to start where I always do. Where were you born at?
I was born in Marosvásárhely in Romania. It's actually, I said the Hungarian name for the village because city.
Tell us in English because my grandmother came from Budapest.
Okay, so I'm actually from Transylvania.
There we go.
Budapest, well, that used to be, still is the capital of Hungary.
Exactly.
So I was Hungarian born into Romania. So, the borders change a lot.
That's why I'm doing it. Just like I'm Ukrainian, but when I was growing up, we thought we were Polish, and my dad had an uncle or a cousin who became a professor, and he did ancestor research. He goes, we're not from Poland, we're not from Russia, we're from Ukraine.
Oh, okay.
And my great-grandfather came
or?
here in the 1880s or so to New York.
Do you know if you were Southern Ukraine?
I don't know exactly.
The only reason I asked, because a portion of that used to be Hungary. It was all part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
But he didn't mention Hungary. He only mentioned Poland and Russia, so I figured center or above. But I don't know.
It's all the same
sure.
neighborhood, right?
They switched those borders like you couldn't
Constantly.
believe. All right, you're from Transylvania.
Yeah, that's right. I'm literally obligated to watch every vampire movie, TV show, whatever.
I watch them all the time too.
Yeah, I have to. It's in my blood.
It's in your blood.
It's in my blood.
Just so you don't suck it during the show. No, we're good. So where'd you go to school and where'd you grow up? Just stayed in that city?
So I went, I grew up in Oradea, which was right by the Hungarian border.
Okay.
It's like from Pittsburgh to the Ohio border.
Oh, okay.
Maybe half of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the town I remember. I was like 5 years old when we moved, 4 or 5 when we moved there. And I lived there till I was 10. Then we left Romania. That was...
Why'd you want to leave Romania? I want to get into that.
Okay,
I know, because I know you very well. When we talk, this is going to be hard to do 29 minutes.
Exactly.
We usually hit 1 to 2 hours. Average.
Easy. Probably 3. But
well, we did the last time. All right. So, what were your parents thinking, and you and your brother growing up there?
Well, the problem was that we were minorities in Ceausescu's dictatorship.
Right.
And if anybody knows anything about Ceausescu, he was pretty ruthless. Even though the United States gave him humanitarian awards.
Well, we're not going to get deep into that stuff, why we like dictators.
Yeah, exactly.
In our past and present.
Right.
But yeah.
But he wasn't a big fan of Hungarians. And I hear his wife actually hated Hungarians even more. So she was the one really pulling the strings behind many of his policies. But he was trying to wipe out Hungarians by any means necessary out of Transylvania.
Wow.
So, not quite Third Reich kind of stuff level, but, not that... it was headed that way.
Would people disappear all of a sudden?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, all the time.
Because I can't imagine, we've talked, that's why I'm bringing this up.
Yeah.
Growing up like that, I lived in Lily White Greentree, 3 miles from Pittsburgh, grew up in the Hill District, saw all kinds of people, but I can't imagine living with people disappearing.
Oh, I mean, it was a common thing. I mean, the Securitate, which is their CIA, whatever you want to call it, they would just literally come up.
KGB, everything.
They would literally come up from underground. They had all these, the whole country's like... Tunneled, yeah, all of it. And now I'm finding out the whole world is, but at any rate...
Well, they learn.
Yeah, very quickly. So they would just pop up, literally grab you, boom, you're gone, and then you're never heard of again.
Did you ever talk bad about the government with
I did.
anybody and got away with it?
Actually, I got my parents almost arrested a couple of times.
What happened?
Just being a kid. I was 10 years old when we left from Romania, so all these things.
Say it's 7 years old.
The first time I was 5 or 6.
Okay.
My father and I, so we went to Hungary because my father went over to Debrecen to have eye surgery.
Right.
So we stayed in Budapest where
half of my family lives. Dad. How's your dad doing?
Pretty good for almost 81.
God bless him.
He's doing good. He's walking. He's taking care of business.
Yes.
But this is the young Arpad, and he had to have eye surgery. So we went to Budapest. My mom was pregnant with my brother at the time.
Oh, okay.
So technically, Chubb's been to Hungary. He just doesn't remember it. He never saw any of it.
He was in the womb.
Right, he was in the womb. So,
a little preoccupied.
Yeah, right. So we're in Budapest, and to me, it was night and day. Hungary was very Western. compared to Romania.
Sure.
You know, and you could say whatever you wanted. You could make fun of the president. I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know, and the thing that struck me the most as a 6-year-old is all the cafe shops and coffee shops and
The freedom we had.
Just they had all like candy stores everywhere, which
As a child, yes.
I mean, I used to beg for candy in Romania. That's what we did. We literally, you saw foreign plates.
How'd you do on that?
You saw foreign plates on a car. If they were German or Hungarian, you would go up and beg them for candy because they had the good stuff.
Right.
And I would always ask as a child, like, why do we have to do this? Why don't we have good candy?
In our country.
Yeah. I mean, I probably would have asked other questions about 10 years later.
Well,
but,
but you left.
Yeah, right. But at 6, 7, 8 years old, like your life focuses around junk food.
Sure.
So.
Hey, I still remember our candy place, Curly's. It was
Are you rubbing it in?
It was a mile from our house. We got handfuls of candy for, under a
like
nickel.
nickels. Right.
Yeah, well, I'm a little older than you.
Yeah,
so.
you are.
Yeah.
Just a little.
We're just a bit. Yeah,
So-
so that's interesting in itself.
Yeah,
Living like
so-
that. What about school? With
Well,
going to
so
school?
I'll get to that in 1 second, but I want to
Okay.
finish this. So anyway, to me that was mind-boggling, the freedom. So when we went back to Romania, we had to go. We were out, I think, for like a month or something, and then we had to be
wow.
back, right? And once we got back, I was, like any kid, right? You take a kid to Disney World, right? You come back, he's talking
You're
about it.
excited, yeah.
Right. So we were on a trolley, my dad and I was going on and on about Hungary. Like, when I grow up, I'm going to live in Hungary. Blah, blah, blah.
You were outspoken.
I mean, just 6-year-old kid,
Yeah.
right? And
You find freedom.
trolley stops, and 2 cops get on, and they take my dad off the trolley. And now I'm scared. I was sitting there, I'm like watching, and there was this woman. They asked this woman to watch me, right? So she's grabbed my arm, just keeping me there.
Right.
And they got my dad. They're questioning him, and eventually they let him go after about 15, 20 minutes. But yeah, they wanted to know what kind of propaganda my dad was filling my head with, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now the
they were
second
forming
time.
a case.
Oh, absolutely. I guarantee you they got a case filed on me in Romania and here in the U.S.
Understand. Understand.
So the second time, I was 8 years old, and we were learning. I'll say one thing: like, communism sucks, but the education system there was so much better
Oh, really?
than here. Miles. We were so far ahead of America. When we got here, I couldn't believe. And I went to a Catholic school, which is actually way better than public schools.
Right.
And I couldn't
general,
believe.
yeah.
And I couldn't believe how far behind even the Catholic
That they
schools here
were from what you were learning.
Yeah. Like
And you just went to normal school.
yeah, it was just it was public school, right?
Wow.
So
I never knew that.
yeah, so in 3rd grade, let me put it this way: by 3rd grade, I could tell you the exports of most countries around the world and where
Most
they're located.
countries.
Yeah, most countries. Like I'm talking about like in Africa too, not just like countries in Europe, in Africa, Asia.
Worldwide.
Yeah. So you ask kids here like, where's London? They'll be like, Paris. What?
No, it's a capital too.
Right. Yeah. Right. So anyway,
Good point though. Point taken.
Yeah. So we were learning about. We were doing the World War II.
Yeah.
And to me, it was always fascinating. World War II was fascinating. And my best friend, whose name also happened to be Arpad,
Wow.
like my dad. Well, we all had very Hungarian names because we went, what
Sure.
was happening in Romania, if you had any name that wasn't Hungarian, like nailed down Hungarian, they would change it to Romanianize it.
Oh, wow.
Romanianize it, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Get the dictionary.
Right, and you had to look Romanian to be able to play on a national soccer team or anywhere like that.
Right.
You had
Soccer's huge.
Oh, yeah. So I wouldn't have had a future there. Okay. And so we were learning World War II, and my friend and I, we thought the swastika looked really cool.
Yeah.
And to a kid, it does.
Yeah.
It's a very cool looking thing, whether it's the Indian or the American or Nazi version.
Yeah.
So on the way home, we were
Because they
drawing.
stole it.
Oh yeah. They just reversed it.
Yeah.
I just had a conversation with an Indian guy. about that.
Understand.
So
yeah.
anyway, so
I know a couple things. We're not
right,
gonna
right.
go
Of
through all
course,
that.
of course.
Yes.
So on the way home, my friend and I, we had chalk, and we were just drawing swastikas on the walls as we were going.
No.
Well, it was all the way to my house and all the way to his house. Exactly. Later that evening.
I'm your straight man.
Yeah. Later that evening, police show up.
Wow.
And they went
what
to.
were you thinking then?
I didn't think anything. I didn't.
Right,
I didn't know why
you're
they
a
were there.
kid, yeah.
Right. I had no idea.
That's why I'm asking.
But yeah, that one wasn't as scary because I was at home, and they had my mom and dad out there, and they were both talking to the police. So they
said no more chalk.
right. They made his mom, Arpad's mom. I I don't ever know what happened to his dad. I don't know if he was taken away by police or whatever. I have no
Really?
idea.
Wow.
But it was very rare to have a single parent there. Especially, there were no such thing as single mothers.
Oh, get out.
No.
That
no.
was rare or non-existent.
That was non-existent. Like, he was the only person I knew. So I don't know if his dad was taken away or, you know, like divorce.
happened.
Let me put it this way: divorce rate in Romania was like 0, maybe 0.0001
I
or
got
something.
a rhetorical question.
yeah.
How could that be?
Yeah, well, you know, imagine. It's
I
not being
cannot.
pushed on you.
Yes.
So, yeah, so they made his mom and my parents go back and scrub off all the swastikas. So needless to say, I got an ass whooping.
They had to wash it all.
Yeah, they had to wash off every wall, all the way back to the school, which was only about 3 or 4 blocks. But still, you know, can you imagine stopping at every,
No.
you know? Oh, I got another funny story. So
Go ahead,
I was going
carry
to
on.
kindergarten, right? And my mom was taking me to kindergarten, and my parents were both in the symphony back.
Sure.
And, so as far as communism go, we led a pretty good life.
Okay.
Okay, because that was a pretty cushy job. But we had a government housing and everything, and everybody had government housing in the
So it
cities.
was all similar housing and apartment-like things.
Yeah, but you know, you paid your monthly rent or whatever. But
They
you know,
charge
it
you
was-
to live there. So
Yeah, but it was super cheap.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like here.
hundreds.
You know,
Yeah.
and the government owned them all.
Of course.
So right. So
they need cash flow.
yeah, of course. And so the kindergarten where I was going was about a block and a half down the street from us.
That's
so
not
if you
a bad
came out,
walk,
yeah,
yeah.
you made no, it wasn't bad at all. And my mother was taking me, and then she would drop me off, and then go to rehearsal, right? So it was some sort of a holiday because all the flags were up,
Right.
right? Imagine 4th of July here, right? Or Memorial Day.
Yeah, coming up.
Right. So apparently I stopped and sang the anthem at every single flag along the way. And, you know,
No way.
there was nothing my mother could do about it. Like here, you know, if your child started doing it, you're like, come on, let's go. I'm in a hurry. Nobody bats an eye.
Right.
There, if somebody sees me singing the anthem and you try to drag me away, the police are showing up and you're going to jail. So,
That's unreal.
so my mother ended up being like an hour late to rehearsal
Because she had to answer for
yeah,
you.
yeah. She was like, there was nothing she could do.
He's young.
I'm singing the anthem to every single one.
You're teaching this in school.
Right. Well, you know, they had you brainwashed so well
Yeah.
that, you know, like
just
you
thought you
literally,
could.
you're taught that, you know, Ceausescu and Elena, his wife, were your real father and real mother.
Right.
And if anybody, including your parents, said anything bad about them, you got to tell your teacher. You know,
Yeah.
it's your duty. So,
And you believed it.
yeah, well, of course. I was like 6, 7, 8, 9 years, you know, 10 years old. In fact, when Ceausescu came to town to give a speech,
Yeah.
and I was so excited. My hero was coming. I was like, oh, I couldn't wait to go.
Right.
And we get there, and the public square's filled. I mean, people everywhere, and because they had to be there. You had to, like, one parent had to be there.
Wow.
Or they were, you know, you're not getting meat, you're not getting sugar, you're not getting, you know what I mean? They made sure.
Yeah.
So I didn't know all that then. So I'm excited. And we're sitting there, and we were like in the back. So I'm like, I want to see, you know, I want to see my father up close.
Right.
So we make our way up. Everyone's like, oh, look, this patriotic little boy. Okay, let him through. So
He's
we're
holding a flag.
yeah. We're at the front. Ceausescu was as close from here to that wall.
Wow.
He's up there speaking, and just
What a day for you.
it was until I realized how boring the speech was. As a 9, 10, whatever I was,
Yeah.
it was god awful boring. After about 5 minutes, I'm like, I want to go, and my dad's like, ugh. I'm like, I
You
want
wanted to come
Yeah,
here.
I was like, he's like, shut up. You wanted to be here. We're not leaving. It's like, you know. So,
That's hilarious.
yeah. So that was another time I almost got him arrested. You know.
Wow.
But
That's about 3, so understand.
yeah,
Now
just-
you guys are 10 and you're talking about leaving.
Yes.
What happened there? A short version of what happened.
Okay, so it all started 5 or 6 years before then when we went to Hungary.
Okay,
right? And
that's what I was thinking
When
the
my
key
father had
was.
his eye surgery, well, he had to go back in 2 weeks to have the stitches taken out. well, the
wow.
Romanian government didn't allow him until like 3 months later.
That could mess up his
well,
eye.
that's exactly what happened. So he used that as an excuse. He went to the Communist Party down in Bucharest, right? And they're rolling out the red carpet. They're thinking he's going to join the Communist Party.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, giving him a cigar. And like, so, Mr. Dimash, what made you, you know, want to join the party? He's like, oh, no. I'm here because I want to defect. He said they rolled the carpet back up, took the cigar. It's like,
No way.
so he fought with them for about 3-4 years, and then finally they basically almost kicked us out of the country. They said, go,
yeah, they
get
didn't
out.
want you there anymore.
No, but you weren't allowed to take anything of any value with you, including money. Nothing, right?
So everything you had to leave behind.
Yeah, except like some clothes. That's it. And my mom, she had a Stradivarius
No
viola,
way.
so she had to rip the label off of it. So you
They
know,
wouldn't know.
yeah, exactly. So she was able to get that out.
You have a smart mother.
Yeah, yeah. My father had a money belt on, and when we were getting through customs, you know, they're checking your baggage and all that, he went to give one of the guys there some money, you know, like a tip, and he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm just giving." He's like, "Don't ever let anybody know that you have money,
Wow.
or you're not getting out of here alive." So he's like,
What a
okay,
tip.
okay. Yeah.
He could have turned him in.
Oh, he could have, yeah. So luckily.
So there is some hope out there.
Well, I
when
mean,
you
there are,
wanna
you know, like every Gestapo, there are good
Yeah.
Nazis or good,
Yeah.
you know, government
Somebody might
employees.
have a little conscience.
Right, exactly.
At
so,
times.
So we get to, so about 2 months before we went to Vienna,
Yeah.
which was our initial destination. So we get to Vienna.
And how did you travel?
Plane.
Okay. How to get that? I
You had to
wasn't
get,
sure if
yeah.
train or.
No. You had to go to Bucharest, the capital,
Right.
Bucharest, and that was the only place you could go international flights.
To
right?
get
so
out
we
of
had,
Romania.
So we had to go from Oradea, which was about a Hungarian border, all the way across the country near the Black Sea, and then to just
You're
go back.
going up to go back.
To go back, you know what I mean? So we get to Vienna, and it's late in the night, and my father literally, all the lei he had with him, which was Romanian money,
Yeah.
he used to get the cab from Vienna's airport into the city, right?
No way.
So we get to the destination, to these people we were staying with, and they were shocked we were there. We just showed up at their door like 2 o'clock in the morning. And my father's like, well, we sent a letter like 2 months ago. He's
Yeah.
like, we never got it. And, you know, you can't send packages or letters. They all get opened and
Not
stuff
like we
that.
have, yeah.
Right. So that's what happened. They just conveniently just threw that
Wow.
away.
So you're in Vienna. Where did you have to go next?
So we went to a refugee camp. We stayed at a refugee camp for about a year.
Because you've told me, I didn't understand how that happened.
Yeah, so it was a small town called Traiskirchen, which is about 40 minutes outside of Vienna.
Okay.
And it was actually very interesting. As a child, I don't think it was that bad because, you know, you're a kid now. Now we've got kids everywhere. We're playing soccer. And,
Right.
okay, but there was a violent aspect to it because you had to stick, like Hungarians stuck together, Romanians stuck together,
Keep it all together.
Czechs stuck together. You had to stick to your own kind. Otherwise, you might get beat up, you know?
Right.
So,
Truly.
yeah, literally. So, but the only time we would all unite is when we played the Austrian kids. We would sneak them into the camp over the walls,
Wow.
and we would play like, you know, us, the refugees, against the Austrian kids. So
That's
that
so
was
cool.
yeah,
Very
that was,
creative.
well, you know, that's when like everything halted. We were all friends. We were all teammates.
Sure.
And then as soon as that ended, we're back to like, okay, I'm with the Hungarians.
We
Don't
hate
bother
them.
me. Yeah, right. Well, the Hungarians, Romanians, we had a clash going, and we were outnumbered like 6-1, so we had to stick together.
Right.
You know.
And that lasted about a year?
Yeah, we were there about 9 to 10 months, from September until I want to say sometime in August. My father got
Yeah,
us.
that's close.
Yeah, my father got us an apartment in Vienna. But while we were in the refugee camp, I was accepted into Vienna Boys Choir.
No way. So
So-
you had a good voice.
Yeah, I was a singer. I didn't know I was a singer, but apparently I was.
They discovered you're a singer.
I was piano. That's what I played, right? Because my parents
With them
forced
being
it on
musicians,
me. They
yeah.
forced it on me.
You
I
gotta learn.
hated it. As a kid, I absolutely hated it.
Look what you learned, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'm thankful now. But as a kid, man, I despised it. I'm looking out the window. All my friends are playing soccer, and I'm like, that's where I want to be, you know. But here I am.
Well, you know, Cyril Weck passed.
I did,
My
yeah.
dad grew up with him.
He lived right near me, by the way. in
He
Squirrel
had
Hill.
to play the violin for an hour a day, and
Cyril?
he had to read a dictionary every day. My dad grew up with him. He wasn't allowed to play, and my dad had basketball teams.
Uh-huh.
He coached them, and Cyril was on some of his teams.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but
That
he
is awesome.
said, when do you ever hear of a child having to do at least 2 hours of violin and
Well, that was
dictionary?
me. Not
So
the dictionary part.
Now
but
I heard that.
yeah. But you know what? But it's worth it. In fact, you know what's funny is you go to Japan, every child there learns either the violin or the piano.
Wow.
Every one of them. Every one of them.
Well,
and
my kids brought them up on pianos. My daughter became a clarinet player and was in the
there you go.
band. My son Drew He went to an alto sax. Then he started to do baritone sax. In the 8th grade, they were doing jazz shows.
Yeah, that's fun.
So imagine from a piano, and
Well,
here's what I play, nothing.
You know what's funny? It's like I loved swing jazz and like the early rock and roll days, right? Of like
Right. Well, that's from the blues and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, of course. But it's a mixture of a whole bunch of stuff coming together and and rockabilly, all that stuff. I loved it, right? And that was my interest. I didn't like classical. I mean, I saw every opera that
What
came
about
to town.
Mozart?
I loved Mozart.
Yeah.
And I wanted to
Me
be.
too. I have CDs on.
Well,
them.
my thing is like when I was in the Vienna Boys Choir, I wanted to be in a Mozart choir. There were 4 choirs in the Vienna Boys Choir. And I think Mozart, Beethoven, and I forget the other 2. I think Haydn was one,
Yeah.
and I can't remember who the last one was. But at any rate, I didn't end up with the Mozart. I wasn't in the Mozart choir. I was kind of bummed about that, but whatever, right? But I was more interested in playing soccer while I was there anyway.
Yeah.
I was any chance
so
I
you
had.
were a singer, a musician, and a soccer player.
Yeah.
Now, how long did it take for you from when you first left to get to America then?
So we were 2 years. So we were 1 year at
Okay, I'm
Teichkirchen, 1
just
year
wondering.
in Vienna, and then we left because we were, we applied to the U.S. and
Get
got
a visa
accepted.
and-
Yeah. I mean, they vetted you. All this. Oh, at the border they were separating children from. They do that. They did that to us. My
Right.
brother and I, we were separated. It's obviously they want to know if we're being sex trafficked or,
Yeah.
or we
Whatever.
are even their children.
Exactly.
Or, you know what I mean? So it has to happen.
Money was changing hands for all kinds of things.
Absolutely. So, they had to make sure that, and they wanted to question us separately because they questioned us too. And more so me. I was 11.
And
My
they
brother
wanted
was
to
like,
know how many flags you can sing the national anthem
Right.
to. No, I'm kidding.
how's the
We're-
remaining?
we're
Do you
gonna-
know our anthem?
We're going to move on, but how did you get to Pittsburgh then?
So there was a Catholic priest who we came out through like Catholic Charities,
Sure.
I guess, and he was stationed here in Pittsburgh.
So that's how you got here.
Yeah, I remember the day we left. That was the longest trip of my life, going from Vienna, because we got up like 5 in the morning to go get out to the airport. Then we went from there, I think, to Frankfurt, and
Oh, okay.
there was like a 4-hour hail delay at Frankfurt.
Hail.
It was nasty, man. They were like this big.
Wow.
It was
Baseballs.
massive. Yeah, they were.
Before you got to America.
It was a nasty hailstorm. And what's funny is there was this black guy across from me. He was a GI, American GI.
Yeah.
And he was reading a Spider-Man comic.
That's
And
my favorite hero.
right? Me too. And I was bored out of my
That's why
mind.
we're friends.
Of course. Yeah, right. So I was bored out of my mind sitting around. So I was eyeing up his comic, And when he finished reading, he gave it to me. And I was like, wow, that's really cool, So he was the first black American I met.
Wow.
He was.
That's interesting. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing.
I don't
that.
remember his name.
That's all right.
We never had a conversation because I didn't speak English and he didn't speak German,
Right.
or Hungarian or Romanian.
Right.
Right.
Hey, we're 22 minutes
Wow.
in. We got about
Wow.
7 to go.
Jeez.
Can you do where you grew up, where you went to high school?
Okay, so I went to Taylor
And then
Alderdice.
we got to get to your music story.
Okay, so we grew up in Hazelwood and then moved to Squirrel Hill a couple years later moved to
Okay.
Squirrel Hill. And
And you're still there now.
yes. Nice
Yeah.
area. So
I've been to your house. Very
you
nice.
have, absolutely. So what are we talking about?
Where were you going to school? Was
Oh,
it,
right, yeah,
was
I
it
went to
grade
Alderdice.
school still, or was it high
Well,
school?
I started, so I did 2 years at St. Stephen's in Hazelwood.
Okay, that's what I'm trying
and
to
then
clarify.
then I went to Rogers Kappa for 8th grade.
Okay.
And then I was going to go to high school, but I wanted to play football. I fell in love with American football, so I
Sure.
wanted to play football. And obviously, Kappa did not have a football team, so I went to Alderdice.
Right.
Met interesting people, had a wonderful time, had a couple of teammates go to the NFL, like Russell Freeman, Jim
Listen to
Williams.
this. I wanted him to drop some names.
Yeah, well, there you go.
We know people, so
sadly,
yes.
Russell passed away a couple of years ago. Jimmy's
Sorry,
still
man.
around, as far as I know.
No, that's great. Hey, we lose touch with things. So.
Yeah. But, I
Definitely.
was proud of those guys.
And so you were
there.
playing football. Were
Yeah,
you
I was the kicker. I was the place kicker.
What a
European. I
coincidence.
mean, what else am I going to do?
Right. Did you want to be quarterback, though?
I did. I
That's why
did
I'm
some
bringing it up.
quarterback. I played some quarterback because I also like throwing the ball.
Yes.
And I found out they were very different. They were painful and stressful in their own ways. Quarterback, the nice thing about playing quarterback is you made a mistake, your next play you were right back in.
Right.
Kicker, you missed a kick, you might
You're
not
in
get in
trouble.
again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You
So
could miss games.
the stress of a kicker, I can tell you, is way higher than a
How
quarterback.
did you do with that stress?
Well, not very well on the varsity. My coach used to stress me out, and I love Coach Witt. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I love the guy, but he would every time before it was my turn, like as a kicker, I know what I'm doing.
Right.
I have one job. I know what I got to do. But he had a linebacker. He was a former linebacker at Michigan State.
Yeah.
So he brought the linebacker attitude. He was, Domos, get in there, kick me up. Field goal. Right in my face. Now I'm going in like.
Thanks for bleeping that. Well,
Yeah.
It's a family tech.
So now I'm going in there, and all I'm thinking about, don't miss, don't miss, don't miss, don't miss, don't miss. Oh, I missed. Oh.
Wow. Well, we got you in high school. Now we're going to move it to.
Right.
Did you start your own band?
I did.
Okay, now you
so I
did
went to Duquesne University.
Yeah,
I got
we were getting down to a few minutes. Come on.
I
You're
got
testing all my skills.
I got a classical piano scholarship at Duquesne University, so I went there.
Congrats.
And, thank you. And I quickly realized that college is a scam. It's a scam.
All right.
So
to all of you
I
out
bailed.
there, no offense meant.
unless you want to be a doctor or lawyer, most of you just go learn a trade. You're much better off.
Okay.
So anyway,
Wisdom from Attila.
absolutely. So I quickly realized it's a scam. I bailed. I met a couple guys there. We started our own band. I left that band. Then I met through mutual friends. One person leads to another. We created Big Bad Wolf. These guys, a couple of guys in Whitehall and I.
Tell them how good you were.
Well, we signed a recording deal.
How about that? Our guy from Hungary, Romania, Vienna, Frankfurt, Pittsburgh.
That's right.
How am I doing?
Pittsburgh. Yes, you got it. You got it.
Okay, now
So-
you signed this contract. And
September
here's-
22nd of '93, we signed a recording contract, and literally about 6 hours later, I have a falling accident in a movie theater where my
Tell
brother.
them, tell
my
them
brother
what
was
you were
working.
doing.
Well,
The way you told me, going up a ladder.
yeah. So my brother actually had the job. So one of the roadies and I went to help him clean up after the theater closed, so we can go out and celebrate. And we were done. He just had to dust mop the front hallway, and so the kid who was with us found a ladder behind the first screen. So
Of
the
course.
two of us went, hey, let's go see what's up there while he's finishing up. Coming down, I'm the first one coming down. I'm holding this rope, and he's like, I don't know if you should try this. I'm like, it's fine, it's fine. Snap. I took about 3-4 steps down, and the rope ripped. Down I went. My life changed.
Fractured your back and
Yeah,
spine.
I kind of landed on my butt because I shattered my 11th and 12th vertebrae, so they had to super
you
glue that back
together.
together.
Yeah.
So I still have the rods in me. But obviously,
Tell them how old you are.
I'm 50. I'll be 56 tomorrow, actually.
And this happened, yeah.
This-
Happy
I was
birthday.
25, thank you.
Happy birthday.
I was 25 when this happened, so that was very life-changing. I ended up losing my job, my girlfriend, my health, the band,
Your dog.
record, the record deal, so it all fell
That was
through.
all out.
Yeah, so, you reinvent
Hold it.
yourself.
I got a question for you. What would you do if that happened to you? And then listen to this. We got 2 minutes to close
Yeah.
it down. Listen to what Attila decided to do in the short version.
Well, okay, so I was always, like I said, I was an athlete and I was a musician. So I got into athletics. I got into powerlifting, which led to push rim.
Look at the arms on him.
Which led to push rim. I hated it. A friend referred me to a hand cycle. So
Yeah.
I got into hand cycling. I later met Danny Chu,
Yes.
who was a
Shout out to Danny.
world class cyclist, and he told me about this 24-hour ride that he did. So I'm like, I think I could do one. I was 47 then.
Yeah.
So going on 48.
Before that, I have to talk about the Pittsburgh Marathon.
Oh, the marathon, yes. That was my first win. So I
Listen to this.
got in the
Not
marathon.
only was he crippled, not only was he working out upper body, not
Yeah.
only did he hate what he was doing,
Yeah.
but he became a hand cyclist champion.
Yeah, I won my very first race I did. I won by
First
11
one he
minutes.
did,
Like
yeah.
11 and a half minutes I won by.
Pittsburgh Marathon.
Yes. And then, like
You
I
did
said,
it 2 more times?
actually I did 6 altogether. I won 3 of them, came in second once, and then in one of them I had a bladder infection, strep of the bladder going
Which you
into
get
it.
a lot, so
Yeah, so,
empathy for that.
So
We got about a minute or less.
So through Danny, I went for the world record for the 24-hour hand cycling, and I broke the record on August.
Tell them what you broke, because we got
So
about 30 seconds.
403.8 miles in 24 hours was the official record.
I was there.
And I broke unofficially, I broke the world record I did 407.7 miles. So, and now any hand cyclist around the world that goes for the record, they're not going for the 403.8. They're all going for 407.7. So
You set
I
the
got their
bar.
respect.
No, that is great. And that's why, what would you advise people when something bad happens to you? Because look what
Just
you've
hang in
done.
there. Hang in there, do stuff, meet people, get out, get busy. because you don't know where life's going to lead you. You don't. You have no idea who's around the corner and who you're going to meet who's going to change your life, or you change his or her life.
That is my hero. Thank you all for watching. We'll be doing our next show in 2 weeks from now, and I hope you appreciate what Attila's done and he brought to the show. I'm amazed, and my hero succeeded. See you next time.